remove the wheel, take the lug nuts off with a 22mm socket. Now I'm going to support the lower control arm. I'm just using a pole jack. Now I take this shock bolt out. Use a 13/16 wrench or a 21mm on the nut behind the shock, and then 21mm socket. And taking this out. And it just slides out. Now I take this bolt out, use a 15mm socket on the bolt side and an 18mm wrench for the nut side. And take this out. Take that off. You don't necessarily have to, but I'm going to take this bracket off. It's just going to make removing and installing a lot easier. You could just slide this bolt out, just watch out for that brake hose, and then use a pry bar and pry this out, or just use a 15mm socket. Take these bolts out. Just slide that off, and you can slide the shock right off. Before we install the shock, just to exercise it, just compress it and let it expand, and do this 3 times. Now slide this back in position, slide it on the bolt and the bracket. Get the nut started. Before we tighten down the nut, put the bolts in for the bracket. And while holding this in position, tighten these 2 bolts down. And tighten this bolt and nut. Then you can torque this to 52 foot-pounds. And for the lower shock bolt, there is a washer that is domed. So you want that dome to fit in right there on the lower control arm. And slide the bolt through. There should be a washer on this side of the bolt as well. Raise that up. And there's another washer. And then the nut. Snug that up and torque this bolt to 72 foot-pounds. When you're replacing the shock, it's recommended that you replace the lower bolt because it's a torque to yield bolt. After you torque it to the 72 foot-pounds, then you want to tighten this an additional 60 degrees. If you have an angle meter, you can use an angle meter, torque angle meter, or if not, do the best you can. And lower the pole jack. And put the wheel back on. Put the lug nuts on. Now I'm going to torque the lug nuts down to 140 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. And just go around again, double check.